Welcome to BDJ Daily Torah, a service of B'nai David Judaic Congregation in Los Angeles. Here is Assistant Rabbi David Stein.
So the first thing for us to talk about tonight is actually what to make a shofar out of. What are the acceptable materials or animals to make a shofar out of? And here it's really interesting because there's two Mishnayot in Rosh Hashanah that seem to offer contradictory evidence, and the Gemara tries to reconcile them. The Rishonim try to reconcile them, and a word first of Rabbi Brovsky actually gives a little bit of framing. Just to understand kind of the anatomy of a shofar, of a horn, more specifically. So there's antlers. There's animals like deer, or ibex that have antlers. Antlers are actually not horns. They're not hollow. They are outgrowths. They're these, kind of bony outgrowths, and they're shed each year. They can be hollowed out, but the Mishnah is very clear that antlers are not suitable for use as a shofar, and then instead you have to use a horn. What's a horn and how does it differ? So a horn grows on cows, rams, and so on and so forth, sheep, and instead of being kind of a solid bony outgrowth of actually the animal's head, horns develop, and they are themselves hollow, and oftentimes kind of cover or protect certain internal tissues. And so the first Mishnah kind of says, actually, all horns can be used for shofar, except for one specific horn, and that is the horn of a cow. Why can't the horn of a cow be used? Yeah, and the Gemara kind of uses the language of, ein katagor nasa sanagor, right? We can't have the instrument that we use to be part of the process of forgiveness, part of the process of tshuva, for that instrument to be the one that actually reminds Hashem of chet ha'egel. So we can't do that. So kind of two particular, So two particular items, I guess, are really off the bat disqualified: antlers and cow's horn. But the Mishnah really seems to say so. Any other animal, a sheep, ram, right, can actually be used for a shofar. The next Mishnah, though, specifies the use of a ram, specifies the use of a ram's horn, and of course, here we also have a tradition. Why specifically a ram's horn? So Mishnah Gemara discuss that this is not the reminder of the sin that we did. This is a reminder of Akedat Yitzchak and of Avram's willingness to sacrifice his son, which obviously plays a central role in Rosh Hashanah. And so the Rosh Hashanah kind of deal with, well, how do we reconcile these Mishnayot? Because on the one hand, the first Mishnah says all horns can be used as a shofar, and then the next Mishnah says we have to use a ram's horn. So interestingly, the Rambam actually understands that there is a contradiction between these Mishnayot, and that in fact it is the case that only a ram's horn can be used. And the Rambam disqualifies all other animals from horns of all other animals from being used as a shofar. But many of the Rishonim disagree with the Rambam on this and understand that actually there is a progression being described here in Mishnayot. There are things that are forbidden. Antlers and a cow's horn is forbidden, there is an ideal. The best thing to use is a ram's horn. But the other Rishonim all understand that this middle category that the first Mishnah talks about, which is horns of any other animal, are actually still usable. It's not preferred, but the Shulchan Aruch kind of brings it down that if you can't get a ram's horn, you could use as long as it's kafuf, as long as it's a bent It's another Gemara that talks about kind of the horn having a shape of kind of being bent as to kind of mimic our our non-uprightness. Certainly, when in process of tshuva, in the process of tefillah, and so on and so forth. But the Shulchan Aruch and many of the Rishonim really understand these Mishnahs as kind of describing a progression of kind of desirability in terms of what we use for the shofar. And indeed, if we don't have a ram's horn, we can in fact use horn of another animal, as long as it's not a cow. Certainly, as long as it's not antlers.
You've been listening to BDJ Daily Torah, a service of B'nai David Judea Congregation in Los Angeles. To learn more about our synagogue, visit bnaidavid.com.